Our second presentation tackles one of the most important and talked about trends in all of society, the arrival of artificial intelligence, AI, to virtually every aspect of our lives. So should we embrace it? Should we fear it? Worry about its impact? Can we harness the power of AI in safe and practical ways that will improve your effectiveness as a youth development professional? We also have to worry about how that affects youth. So we have a speaker today who is himself a successful youth development leader and one who has embraced the power of AI to enhance strategic communications and fundraising. Matt Nelson is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Santa Clarita Valley in California. He leads a large multi-unit organization with many staff, volunteers, and youth served. Like many of you, Matt says there is never enough time to handle all of the responsibilities and demands of his executive role. He'll share how AI has helped him actually improve efficiency and effectiveness. Please welcome Matt Nelson.
Hi, good day, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here to present and talk about a tool that we've recently grabbed onto in the last year and a half, and to be sharing it with so many amazing people across the globe. And thank you all for the work you do for the youth in your communities. As I mentioned, I'm with Boys and Girls Club of Santa Clarita Valley in Southern California, and we've experienced tremendous growth over the last few years with the advent of new state and county funding. So we've grown from 2 locations to 12. We've grown from 25 employees to 100, and are went from serving about 300 kids a day after school to over 700 now. And with that, we haven't been able to expand as much on the overhead, but we have adopted some new tools to improve efficiency. And one of those is ChatGPT. It's something that I was a little hesitant to adopt at first and fearful of, but have been able to use it in many different ways. Some of the ways I've used it is for writing grant proposals, making information fit into the questions, making redundant information fit character and word requirements, writing emails to the board, donors, and staff. And we wrote an RFP for an HR consultant, using it for social media posts, budget for capital projects, writing thoughtful thank you notes, event planning, from writing agendas, invitations, and speaking points to post-event emails and social media posts, and even used it to help write an 80-page health permit. We'll fill in information using information from our operations manual to fill it to make it match a county document. We also use it for press releases, research costs for unfamiliar items in work, complicated math problems, preparing talking points, and I even used it to help create this slideshow, actually. So, no spoiler there. So diving right in, one of the talking about grant proposals, we write a lot of those, and they could be to private corporations, individuals, family foundations, large foundations, but there are some key sections that each have that's similar, and including the executive summary, statement of need, what your organization's about, the project you're looking to fund, how much money you need, how much you have, and outcomes you expect, and how you'll evaluate that. ChatGPT can help you create all of that in just moments. And so I'm actually going to share my screen and show you how I use it. So I'm going to pull up. I use ChatGPT primarily on an app on my desktop, on my computer, and I also have it on my phone. I started by using the web-based application, and you can go to OpenAI, ChatGPT. You could use an existing Google account or create an account to log in, and then start to use it. Initially, I used it to edit and clean up what I wrote, but then I've now been using it more and more to help me from the initial idea brainstorming point phase of development. So you can see on the left that saves many of the different documents that you work on. And then up here on the right, in the top corner, this is what you press to start a new one. And it's as simple as typing in a message here. So I have a sample. So in my slide, see, I have a sample. We're going to use this to create a grant request for youth development programs focusing on STEM education, STEM being science, technology, engineering, mathematics, for underprivileged communities. Some of those big words that we struggle with. Don't worry, the AI is smart enough to interpret our misspelling. Press return and watch the magic. Now it'll develop all of this. One reason it's able to develop so much is I've used it a lot to, so it knows about our organization. Initially, when you get started, you're going to have to copy and paste, drop in information about your organization that it could then help clean up. And that's what I used to do, is I would take old grants, load it in, and then say, clean this up, make it current for this year, and so forth. But you could see it right away, it writes the structure of the grant requests, identifying yourself, the amount you're requesting, what the title is, an overview, the statement of the problem that you're looking to address, the objectives of the funding, who your target audience is, the program activities, the total program budget, the funding you are requesting, how you're going to measure success, and what sustainability looks like. Finally, a conclusion to wrap it up. It's incredible what it can do so quickly, especially the more you use it, the faster it works to work with what you have. But often it never gets it right the first time, but because it's data in, data out. So what you have to do is the work with what you have. So if you wanted to adjust this for clarity or tone, or you wanted to reduce the word amount or adjust what's included, all you need to do is tell it what you want it to do. So let's say shorten the conclusion to, so sometimes when you're inputting grant requests, it'll limit the amount of words or characters you need to input, and that can be very frustrating to try to condense a one-page conclusion to 200 characters, but it can do it for you. I'm going to say 100 characters because it's already pretty short. So it's going to shorten the conclusion to 100 characters. Bam, there you go. It shortens it up right away for you. Now, when you're happy with what you have, all you need to do is click here, copy, and then paste it into the Word document. You don't want to copy and paste it right into your final draft, because you're going to need to make some edits. You're going to need to look over it. You could go ahead and move to the next slide. As we're fine-tuning ChatGPT's output, keep in mind, it's a starting point. It's not the final product. You can ask it to use more compelling language, which is a beautiful tool. So the prompt off this slide is, make this proposal more compelling by adding emotional impact and community testimonials. Now, it doesn't have the testimonials, but it'll give some samples. And of course, you want to be authentic. You don't, you want to, but here you go. Let's see what it does here. Here's a revised version. Let's see. Here you go. There's a quote from 14-year-old Maria. I wouldn't say use those quotes again, because it's not 14-year-old Maria. Is not your child in your organization, but it helps you find the place that where you could put it, what kind of quote you might use. Here's a concerned parent recently told us something, a quote, to help build it and create more emotional impact and compelling story. Of course, in the perfect world, we would do this all ourselves, but let's be honest, and with time constraints, we need to be efficient, we need to be effective, and this could help us tremendously. One thing that I think is a lot of fun to do is you can actually change the tone of what you're writing. So let's say, I'm going to say, rewrite the project overview in the tone of a person from the South in the USA. So if it doesn't sound like, maybe you're in another country and it sounds like American English and you need it to sound more like your English, you can change it that way. So you can see down here at the Boys and Girls Club of Santa Clarita Valley, we hold tight to the belief that every child, it'll throw in some here down here, STEM education, y'all. One of those Southern terms. It's pretty impressive how it can do that. But from there, you're going to want to have someone from your team review your work. Don't take this as the final project. They may see something that you don't, and you want it to sound authentic, like it's coming from you, from your organization. It really is who you are. But you can teach ChatGPT how to do that. So we'll go ahead and do another example. So, sorry, I don't see the slides, but if we can move to the next slide on the board. So one thing I'll use it for is I need to quickly get out information to my board. I know what I need to say, but I've just got so many things on my plate. I'm not sure, how to format it. So you can use this to help create communications to your board, to your staff, to donors. We'll use the example of the board in particular. So you could have an introduction, give them updates, calls to action. And the more you put in on what those specific details are, it'll help you write it. But even without a lot of details, you can say, draft an email to the board that provides updates on fundraising efforts, upcoming events, and requests approval for a new youth program. Sure, here's a draft. So it pumps it all out, talks about your fundraising efforts, talks about some upcoming events, and then creates a request for a new youth program approval. Again, it doesn't know what the program is, but in my case, it knows we do a lot for leadership, financial literacy, education. So it starts to kind of get into that area. But then maybe, it's unclear. You can have it refine it more. You can summarize it. Let's say, my board, they're not going to sit and read this. This is like a couple page email. If they have to scroll, they're not going to read it all. They're not going to catch it. So I'm going to say, turn this into bullet points in an email. So here's the same information broken into bullet points. Much easier to digest, synthesize the information for board members who are busy. You can see it leaves some spots blank. Now, if you know what events they are, put that information in what you want it to say. Tell it the event date, location, time. It'll start to include all of that. That'll create more clarity. So you'll go to the next slide. We're already kind of working on that, is using the bullet points, headers, white space to break up information. That's what it started to do here. We could also say, you know what, this move the program approval request to the top as it is urgent. It'll restructure your email. Urgent, new youth program approval request. Bam. And then you could put that at the top. Oh, it's still going. There you go. I restructured it so it gets to what you need to stand out right away. And then you can also, that's kind of going along, adjusting for clarity, for information, the structure. You can have it do whatever you need it to do. Moving on to how it can help you with a marketing plan. So on the slide for the marketing plan, we talk about the importance of storytelling and promoting your mission. as Evan and Daniela just talked about, marketing's key, telling your story, sharing with people who you are. Some of us aren't necessarily the best storytellers or writers. Some of us are more oral, but this tool can help us refine that and create some plans. And also, if you have volunteers or teams, if you give them some information, they could help work with that information using ChatGPT to create some great content for you. But some of the things you really need to know is goal. What are you trying to achieve? Who your target audience is? Are you speaking to parents and caregivers trying to recruit youth to your program, or are you speaking to donors in the community? It can help you with different tactics such as social media, email campaigns, partnerships, and help you create timelines with some key milestones. So let's go ahead and use it again for a simple way to create social media posts. Create 3 social media posts promoting our new STEM education initiative for at-risk youth. Post 1. It even adds little emojis. It structures it in a nice, succinct way for your social media posts. You throw in some great photos with these, and you're on your way to creating some great posts very quickly. So there's your 3 posts. Say you want to do 1 a week on STEM in the month of October. There you go. Use that the Hoot, is it called? Hootsuite to schedule these, and here's the content that you could add in. Of course, again, have somebody review it, make sure that it makes sense. But then let's say, at-risk youth, if you wanted to replace it with opportunity youth, because, at-risk youth, that's really not the messaging we want. You can do that. It's very simple to do all that. So in conclusion, on the next slide, we talk about aligning AI generated content with your brand is key, is important. Make sure it's authentic. Make sure it aligns with what the message that you're trying to get out there. You don't want to make this mistake of quickly using it, copy pasting, and sending it out. One thing that the thing that helps me always check is when you copy paste, it changes bold. It doesn't copy bold content, so it puts these little asterisks around it. So if you were to send that out, somebody who's familiar with ChatGPT will know it's ChatGPT created a year ago. That was a little more of a taboo, a faux pas, but I think nowadays people know people are using AI, especially in the corporate world. They expect things to get done quicker, and this is why, because you don't have to spend half a day writing content. You can spend half an hour creating it. Use ChatGPT to prompt your drafts, but then revise them until you get what you want. Just the key here, and this is what I look for now in new leadership in our organization, is the ability to know what you want, to work through it, to identify it, because the tools are there to help you create this content, to help you create the emails, the grant requests. But it's really being able to ask the right questions. And the more you play with it, the more you'll see that there's available to do with it. I'm sure there's a lot that I don't. At once I was using it about once a week. Now I'm using it almost daily, because if there's any problem that I need, I just kind of turn to ChatGPT. Helps me work through it quickly. And I love that you can make it more inspiring, and you could change the tone. It's a great tool there. So as we wrap it up here on the last slide, ChatGPT is a co-creator. It's not a replacement for human judgment. You want to iterate drafts until they match your vision. And remember, good data in, good data out. So start by putting in as much as you have already about your organization. Teach it what you know. You're going to have your login, so it's out there. But you do not want to put personal, private, confidential information. Don't put identifying information about the youth you serve, about your employees out there, because when it does get out there, I don't know where it goes. I'm not an expert on that, but you don't want to put that kind of information out there. It goes into there. And then again, still lean into your team, engage the team to review and help you with that. And so I think that's about my time there. So I'm going to put my email in the chat. If anyone's interested, feel free to reach out to me, email me if you have any questions. Love to help and help others learn. And just to help. So reach out. And I see, let me see, I see one question from Rachel. Is this the free version is capable of doing all this? We do have the paid version, and I'm still learning how to use it because it can help create other things like PowerPoint slides and whatnot. I didn't use it for this whole PowerPoint. Actually, in Microsoft PowerPoint, they have AI that helps you come up with designs really quickly as well. So thank you all. I hope have a great day, and feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Matt, for such an interesting and eye-opening presentation. For many of us, shall we say, more experienced folks, AI may seem threatening or daunting, but you have demonstrated that there is great practical potential to its use as an efficiency tool. We appreciate your sharing your experience, and no doubt it will help many others to explore these benefits.
Absolutely.